A single track on the ice can mark the beginning of a challenging hunt in the Arctic. The polar bear gains the advantage through surprise and overwhelming strength. Every step across the ice quietly closes the distance. Even other predators remain cautious when a polar bear appears. What has allowed the polar bear to maintain its position as one of the Arctic's top predators? Across the ice-covered regions of the Arctic Ocean, every time a seal surfaces to breathe, it faces a moment of risk. To breathe, seals must regularly return to openings in the ice, which are also places where polar bears may wait patiently. With an exceptionally keen sense of smell, a polar bear can detect breathing holes even when they are covered by snow and quietly move closer. It may remain almost completely still for long periods, waiting for the exact moment a seal rises for air. When the opportunity appears, the bear reacts almost instantly. The success of the hunt depends not only on speed, but also on patience and precise timing. During the seal pupping season, the polar bear's approach changes. Across the open ice, seal pups often rest near snow-covered dens. The polar bear quietly moves closer, using the terrain and wind direction to reduce the chance of being detected before it gets within range. However, most attempts to approach seals do not end in a successful hunt. With adult seals, especially larger bearded seals, moving in also carries greater risk. For that reason, a prolonged encounter can consume more energy than the potential food source is worth. This hunt shows that in the frozen Arctic, strength and speed are most effective when combined with patience. For seals, every trip to the surface for air is a delicate balance between the need to survive and the risk of becoming the focus of the Arctic's top predator. Across the frozen Arctic, seals remain the polar bear's most important food source. But as summer reduces the extent of sea ice, opportunities to hunt seals decline significantly. As the ice retreats, large groups of walruses may gather along the coast after feeding offshore. For a polar bear that has already used much of its stored body fat, this can be a rare opportunity, but also one of the Arctic's greatest challenges. An adult walrus can weigh more than 3,300 pounds, with skin about 1.5 inches thick and tusks reaching nearly 3 feet long. The polar bear watches from a distance, waiting for an individual in a more accessible position to become separated from the main group. For a predator that must conserve energy, choosing the right target can be crucial. Even with a suitable target, gaining control of a fully grown walrus remains extremely difficult. Its thick skin and massive body make an adult walrus exceptionally challenging for a polar bear to overpower. The longer the encounter continues, the more energy the bear uses, and it may eventually withdraw without gaining access to food. In the frozen Arctic, the boundary between predator and prey can become remarkably uncertain. As the environment changes, survival instinct does not guarantee success. It can simply lead animals into even greater challenges. In the Arctic, hunting opportunities can sometimes be shaped not only by strength, but also by changing tides. As the water rises, a pod of belugas follows the current into shallow coastal waters. The vast openness of the ocean suddenly narrows between rocky outcrops and sandbars, forcing the whales to move through a confined passage. A polar bear quickly recognizes the opportunity. At first, it enters the water and tries to swim after the belugas. But the belugas hold a clear advantage in this environment. With just a few powerful movements of their tails, the pod quickly leaves the predator behind. After the unsuccessful approach in the water, the bear climbs out, moves onto a rocky outcrop extending toward the sea, and remains still. From this higher position, it waits near the narrow passage the belugas are moving through. The belugas continue traveling in their usual formation. The adults repeatedly adjust direction to keep the pod together, while the calves swim close to their mothers for protection. But in shallow water, they cannot maneuver as freely as they can in the open ocean. If one slows down even briefly, its safe distance can quickly disappear. The bear remains motionless. Only when a young beluga moves close to the edge of the rocks does the bear suddenly surge forward in a single powerful movement. After the unsuccessful approach in the water, the position on the rocky outcrop creates a different opportunity. Winter covers the Arctic tundra in snow and ice. As food becomes scarce, encounters between predators can also occur. In these moments, the polar bear's strength can be matched against the coordination of a wolf pack. When a polar bear appears, the atmosphere immediately changes. A fully grown male can weigh more than 1,300 pounds, several times the weight of an Arctic wolf. Its massive size alone is enough to make most rivals keep their distance. But the wolves avoid a direct confrontation, patiently looking for opportunities when the bear's position becomes less secure. The pack spreads out around the bear. Several wolves move closer and then pull back, while others appear along the sides and from behind. These approaches from multiple directions force the bear to keep turning toward the nearest wolf. The standoff can continue for several minutes without either side making a decisive move. A prolonged encounter can drain energy from both sides without creating a clear opportunity. If the advantage disappears, one side may choose to leave. In the Arctic, conserving energy can sometimes matter more than pursuing an immediate opportunity. This encounter shows that the polar environment tests more than strength alone. It also tests strategy and patience. Across the Svalbard archipelago, snow-covered slopes can sometimes provide polar bears with additional feeding opportunities. When opportunities to reach seals on the ice become more limited, some individuals also make use of food sources available on land. Svalbard reindeer are not easy to approach. They can quickly move away when they detect unusual movement. To reduce the chance of being noticed, the polar bear uses the slope of the terrain to keep much of its body out of sight. Once the distance has been reduced, the hunt changes immediately. The bear suddenly accelerates over a short distance, concentrating its strength into a few decisive seconds. These bursts of speed require considerable energy, so the pursuit can usually be maintained only over a limited distance. In this encounter, the bear quickly gains control of the prey. The reindeer hunt reveals another side of the polar bear's adaptability. Although polar bears still depend primarily on sea ice and seals, they can also take advantage of other food sources when opportunities arise. As the environment changes, their survival strategies can change with it. Each summer, as the sea ice retreats farther from shore, many polar bears are forced to remain on land for longer periods. As their stored fat gradually declines, they begin searching for opportunities that are normally less common. In some shallow waters, fish confined to smaller areas can become potential food for polar bears. Unlike some brown bear populations that regularly catch fish, polar bears may need several attempts before getting close enough. The bear watches the movement beneath the surface, then makes a quick attempt when a fish comes within reach. Most attempts only disturb the water, while the fish quickly scatter. When successful, the fish can provide some additional energy during the time spent on land. This shows that polar bears can make use of other food sources when conditions allow. After the salmon season passes, polar bears turn to other opportunities. Along coastal cliffs, tens of thousands of pairs of seabirds return to nest each summer. Eggs and chicks become a short-lived food source that is much easier to reach than salmon. The bears focus on nests close to the ground or on young birds that are not yet able to leave the nest. They move quickly from one nest to another, making use of each opportunity before the colony settles again. However, this food source is available only for a short period during the breeding season. It cannot replace the polar bear's primary food source, but it can provide additional energy during some of the most food-scarce weeks. During the breeding season on the Arctic sea ice, adult male polar bears enter one of the most competitive periods of the year. Many encounters during this time involve competition for mating opportunities or access to a food source. When two adult males meet, they often watch one another, investigate scents, and display their size. If these displays do not cause one bear to withdraw, the encounter can become more physical. They may rise onto their hind legs, use their front paws to push, and wrestle repeatedly in an effort to make the other bear back away. The encounter usually ends when one bear loses its position, becomes less able to continue, or chooses to leave the area. For mothers raising cubs, however, the risk can sometimes come from adult males of the same species. If a male moves too close, the mother may immediately lead her cubs away or position herself between them and the approaching bear. In rare cases, adult males may pose a threat to cubs. One hypothesis suggests that, in some situations, this behavior may be linked to reproductive competition, since a female may become reproductively available again after losing her cubs. Life for polar bears involves more than hunting seals on the ice. It is also a balance of competition, reproduction, and protecting the next generation. Every hunt reflects the rules of survival in the frozen Arctic. Polar bears maintain their position through their ability to adapt to each hunting opportunity. In the polar regions, survival depends on patience and adaptability. The wild continues to change with the rhythms of nature. If you'd like to discover more stories of survival from the Arctic, please like and subscribe.